Hello.
Muted. Hello. Just got to go and say goodnight to Livy. I'll be back in a second.
No problem. Remember, this is being recorded, so I will share it so there's no missing anything. Whoop. Hello. Oh, I'm trying to spotlight myself so that in the recording, it's just me that you see. I know that can be slightly annoying from experience if you do a workshop or yoga thingy and you have to watch the whole the whole of the participants. That's happened to me a couple of times. But I don't think I've ever done, I think I've managed to always just record me, but do shout if, yeah, no, I have, haven't I? I haven't ever put you all on screen. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Hello, Julia, I haven't seen you for ages. I hope you're all well and warm because it's cold tonight and I'm down in the basement and I didn't put the heating on, so it's freezing. So make sure that you have a cushion to hand for the end, but also probably a blanket. So if it is a bit chilly where you are, like make sure you've got something you can just sort of pull over yourself so you're not gonna, because I will leave you hopefully in your repose for a few minutes. So I want you to feel like you can be comfortable because it is chilly. And I hope you're all very well. We're going to start standing. So follow me to your standing position. I think there is still one person still to come, so I might have to run to let them in. But let's start standing. If you prefer and want to start sitting, everything that we're doing, even the roll downs, you can do sitting. So sitting on a bed or sofa. So if you prefer and you want to, a little bit more support for your spine and you're not having to use your core muscles as much when sitting. So please do, just listen to your body. Let's place the feet directly underneath the bony parts of your pelvis. So just have a little feel. Find with your fingertips the two protrusions of your pelvis, the two hip bones. Notice how it feels. So this maybe just give yourself a little massage in between those 2 points. That's the space in between there is the main engagement of the muscles that we want to feel in our stabilizing. So the pelvic floor lifts up, the transversus muscle just cinches like a little corset. So it's in between these two places. And then below these two places, the hip bones, place your feet. So see if you can anchor yourself through that nice symmetrical position down underneath the hip bones. And then just think about the placement of your rib cage above that space. So maybe have a sense of where's my pelvis, where's my ribs directly above that. And then think about placing your head directly above the pelvis, the rib cage, poising it directly above those two spaces. And imagine the arches of your foot, each foot just softly drawing up, excuse me, away from the earth underneath you. So just finding a moment, especially if you have been kind of sitting down at a desk for much of the day or like sitting with a baby on the floor, just see if you can find that sense of space and balance between the pelvis, the ribs, the head. Just take a few moments here. And then while you're doing that, let's roll the shoulders. So reaching the shoulders up to the ears and then all the way back and down. And you can kind of get the elbows involved if you want, bending the elbows, reaching them back, so kind of squeezing them together to really activate the muscles around the back of the chest and the front of the chest, making you aware of that space where you're breathing. Maybe take a deeper breath now that you're more aware of it. Let's do one more of these circles. And then release the arms all the way down, just being a bit more aware now of the shoulder blades on the ribs. And then just roll them the other way. Now you don't have to necessarily get the shoulders and the elbows as involved rolling the other way, just see how you feel. I find it difficult to get my elbows involved when I'm going forward. And then just letting the arms release down by your side. Let's breathe in to let the arms float up. So let's say a breath In breath for a count of 4. Out breath for a count of 4, even 5. So let's see if we can elongate that exhalation. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Out, pressing the air as if it's got resistance. It's made of substance. Down for 5. In, 2, 3, 4. Trying not to let the shoulders rise. So we've just actively risen them. And we want to see now whether you can keep the shoulders serene as the neck stays long, the crown of the head reaches up, and you're just letting the arms kind of float in their sockets. Last one. In for 4, and out just 1 count longer to press the arms all the way down. And then let's bring the palms to face forward. Again, just for a moment, notice how that feels. So see whether just that little rotation helps to connect and soften the shoulder blades into the back. Notice if you feel that you're normally the opposite of that, so rounding this way. See if that can just gently tease the collarbones wider on the front of the body. And then I want you to float the arms up towards shoulder height, but palms facing forward this time. And you're just going to open the arms. Allow your throat and your breastbone to rise up towards the ceiling. So as if you're just sort of welcoming, say hello to the sky above you, and then just circle the arms forward and down. Now we're going to breathe in to open and lift, and breathe out to release and down. Now this movement's just in the upper back, so I don't want you to be wiggling around too much in your bum, but maybe soften your knees to make that movement a little bit easier if it wants to move. So I want you to sort of have a sense of this just being in the upper back. But if you feel that your pelvis wants to get involved, let's actively connect by softening the knees and letting your rib cage tailbone connection. All right, let's do one more. Breathing in and breathing out. Roll, and then just stay in this little rolly forward fold for a moment and let your arms soften. So let's just do little circles. Think about the back crown of your head lengthening through the back of your neck. So you're not slumping the chin to the chest. You're thinking about how you can actively begin to reach the neck, lengthening away from the end of the spine. And then I want you to soften and lengthen the arms. Just let them stop moving and continue to roll forward. So if you want to do this sitting, you can, because if that feels a little bit softer on the lower back, make sure you bend your knees if you need to, and fully relax the head and shoulders at the bottom. So nod your head yes, shake your head no. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's lift into that lower belly, so the area that we connected to in between the 2 hip bones, and roll up through your spine bone by bone. When you get there, just float the arms up, 2, 3, 4. Press them down, and as you begin to press them down, nod the nose forward as if you're kind of diving, and I want you to roll down bone by bone. Allow the arms to fully soften. Breathing in at the bottom. Breathing out, lifting through the front of your belly. So imagine you're kind of pressing yourself up from the front of your body to restack your spine. Lengthening the nose away from the breastbone. Once you're upright, float the arms up with your in-breath. Breathing out to begin to press down, nod the chin to the chest. Lengthen the neck as you roll forward and down. Imagine you're resisting gravity, so you've got that lift through your lower belly. Breathing in at the bottom, this is your last one. Breathing out, let's rebuild. Lengthen the crown of the head up to the ceiling. Breathing in, the arms come up. Pressing them down on your out breath. And I want you to rise up onto your toes as you press the arms down. And let's do that 4 times. So lengthen the arms up. You can add a little bend of the knee. Did you hear my knees? I want you to then press the arms down as you rise up onto your toes, keeping the big toes and the little toes down if you can. Let's do that 3 more times. Remember, soft shoulders, long neck, pressing the arms down, lifting up. Last 2. And Press the arms down as you lift up. Lifting the arms as you bend, and then just release the heels down as the arms come down as well. Let's come into a little calf stretch. So from here, stand your right leg back, just a stride, so not kind of reaching too far. But we want to come hip width apart, so we're not walking a little tightrope. So really make sure that you feel grounded and supported. And the hips are both facing forward, so we're not swiveling to the side. Send your left knee forward over the toes. Again, just checking we're still square through the hips, and really lengthen into that back heel. So we're trying to keep upright through the spine, but not sink into the lower back. So little diagonal shape. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, float the arms up and forward in line with the heels. Sorry, heel and ankle. Relaxing those shoulders, breathing in. Now as you breathe out, we're going to press into this supporting leg. We're going to come down with the arms and bring the knee up into a standing balance. The arms might want to come back a little bit of the body, so you're firing up the tricep muscles a little bit, and then come back down and into your calf stretch. And again, let's stand into that standing balance, and then reach it back, calf stretch. Let's do 2 more. Lift and lengthen. Last one. And reach it all back. And then release the arms down. Let the shoulders really relax. Maybe bend, if you can, just a little smidge into this back knee. It will send the stretch a bit more into the ankle joint. It might feel quite stiff, or you might have quite a lot of ankle mobility, in which case it'll feel completely fine. With me, my ankles are kind of made of cement, so even just fractional movement feels quite strong. So breathe. And then just come back through center, just standing back into your hip width apart stance. Just take a few moments to breathe here and notice kind of how you're feeling through the right and the left side of your body. Maybe close your eyes if that feels okay. Or just standing, kind of gently look down through your nose. Notice how the right foot feels. Left foot, the knees, up into the hips. Breathe. And then when you're ready, standing that left foot back, or standing your right foot forward if you needed to, like me, so slightly shifting your position. You might feel that one side feels very different and different kind of balance to the other. That's very normal, but just notice it and kind of give yourself a sense of, oh, that's interesting, I'm not symmetrical. See whether your hips are both facing forward, we haven't swiveled. So drawing this right hip into its socket as you bend the right knee forward over the toes. You don't have to go way over the toes, we're just sort of leaning them, pressing that left heel back so you find that stretch into the calf. Relaxing the shoulders. If and when you want to, let's float the arms forward and up. Relaxing the shoulders, nice long neck. Think about strong lift through the front of your body. So we're not just sort of relaxed and totally forgetting about our core muscles. You want to always have that sense, pubic bone to navel, navel to breastbone, breastbone to nose, kind of active length. Breathing in. As you breathe out, we're going to press the arms down as you stand into that right foot and lift into your balance and chop your head off if you're me. And then coming back down into that calf stretch, reaching the arms all the way back into those heels with the weight. Breathing in, breathing out, lift. Notice if, like me, you're lifting into that hip slightly. See if you can keep it balanced so we're not hinging or hitching in the waist. We want to keep nice and even. This is my weaker side. Reaching the heel back, arms up. We've got 2 more. Pressing the arms back, the knee comes up. And lengthen. Last one. Really kind of almost squeezing those shoulder blades together as you reach the arms back. And then just coming back into that calf stretch. And then release the arms down. From here, keeping the hips where they are, just a little micro bend into this back knee. You might not even, see with this ankle, I can barely make an actual discernible movement, but I am trying. Getting a little bit more into that ankle joint, the Achilles, than into the calf. And then coming back to your hip width apart stance. Just take a moment to absorb it in your body. Notice how it feels. Breathe, maybe come back to that in breath, lifting the arms up for 4. Out breath. Pressing it down, even without the arms, we're going to do 3 breaths here. So just gently noticing how the body's feeling in your hip width stance. And last, lovely deep breath. And pressing the arms all the way down. Let's just pick up the heels and bring them together. Squeezing the inner thighs. So imagine like little magnets connecting your legs now. We've got what used to be 2 pillars coming up to 1. We're now joining that energy, the sort of pelvic energy, from the heels upwards. So I want you to imagine that sense of pressing the heels together, but then that wrapping of the muscles spiraling into the thigh bones, into the socket. So really feeling the inner thighs, but also the buttocks switching on. So feel really energized and active through all of the muscles in the legs. Relax the shoulders. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, let's press the floor away, rise up onto the toes, keeping those heels glued together. So imagine you've got a magnet in between those heels, really keeping them connected. And then release the heels down. Bend the knees directly over the toes. Squeezing together, inner thighs come together, press the floor away, lift. Slowly lower down, a little bend. Let's do one more like this, we're rising up. Slowly lowering down, and as you bend, I want you to float your left arm up. I'm now mirroring you, I wasn't before. We're going to reach all the way up and over. See if you can keep the pelvis upright, so we're not sending the hips to the left. We want just to reach up and out through the left side of the waist. And then stay in your plie as you reach the arm down, and we're going to just do a little windmill and go the other way. So reaching up and over out of that right hip, breathing in. And then you're going to leave the arms at shoulder height. I want you to pick the heels up and then press the floor away to squeeze the legs together and then release everything down. Just shaky through the arms and the legs. Just make sure you're nice and soft and relaxed. I'm going to come down onto the mat. First, onto our front. So I want you to come to the end of your mat. Breathing in, take a lovely deep breath in, rise up onto your toes just to activate sort of from your tippy toes to the crown of your head. Release the heels down, we're going to roll down. So rolling bone by bone, finding the floor. Momentarily stay there if it feels comfortable, maybe bend your knees, nod and shake the head. Maybe even ground through the hands, so feel fully sort of connected down into the earth as if you were a 4-legged mammal creature. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, you're going to just walk yourself up, keeping a sense of lift through your belly, so resisting gravity. Excuse me, as you excuse me. Okay, let's walk into 4-point kneeling. And into rest position. I should mute myself while I have my little cough. Having, I thought, survived COVID, or not got it, having both my children be off with it, maybe this tickly cough is the first time. Excuse me. Right, so we are in our rest position. Make sure that your knees are nice and wide, toes together. If you're not already, just maybe adjust yourself a little bit because it gives a slightly nicer hip opening feeling in this position. And I want you to really let the ground take and support your weight. So just take a moment to notice where your body is touching into your mat. through your forehead, maybe through the fronts of your legs, your arms. Notice whether, in whichever position you're in, whether your shoulders are connecting down. Think about the front of your body and allow your breath to be expanding into the back of your body. And allow the front of your body just to soften. And then I want you to just very gently activate the front of your body. So as if you're trying to kind of lift your belly slightly off the front of your thighs. There won't be that much movement, but I want you to get a sense of activating the muscles rather than just completely relaxing forward. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, use that muscular engagement to help you roll back up to sitting. So gently releasing the heels onto the, the bum onto the heels, the crown of the head to the ceiling. Excuse me. And let's come out to 4-point kneeling. So the knees are now underneath the hips. The hands are underneath the shoulders, or if you need to, slightly further forward to give your wrists a bit of a break. And I want you to organise your spine as if you were standing. So think about the placement of your pelvis. Maybe wiggle your bum a little bit to remind you of where your pelvis is. A little bit of a circle at the tailbone. Change direction. And then settle the pelvis back so that it's in line with the rib cage. So really notice whether your ribs are curling up. See if you can lengthen the front of your body, thinking about that line from the pubic bone to the navel, to the breastbone, to the nose. So always organise yourself along that line, knowing the distance between those spaces. So do you feel like your nose is closer towards your breastbone in this position? And if so, just lengthen it away so you're reaching it in line away from your pubic bone. Let's take a breath in here. And as you breathe out, no movement of any bones. I want you just to lift the muscles of your belly, to draw away from the floor. So we're just trying to activate that corset. And then I want you to breathe in and try and maintain that lift. So a real Pilates breath into the back of the body here. And then breathe out, just let everything soften. Let's do that one more time. Taking a breath in, let your belly soften with the breath. And as you breathe out, drawing the belly up and in. So think pubic bone to navel to breastbone. So that area, you're just drawing in and allowing to feel like you're kind of drawing towards the spine, strengthening and supporting the torso. Breathe in and maintain that lift. And breathe out. Let's relax. Let's do one more like that. You can always, if you need to, come down onto your elbows. If the wrists are struggling, take a breath in, relax the belly. As you breathe out, you might want to lift pelvic floor consciously on this one. Now that you've found the supporting muscles, you want to move the muscles without moving the bones. So we're lifting the lower belly, hugging the rib cage, but without moving the bones. And then breathe in, maintain that lift. And breathe out, and let it go. Just give your wrists a little break. If you need to, really spread the fingers, circle the wrists. Maybe tap each finger onto your thumb, working through the muscles of your hands a little bit. And then we're going to come back onto your 4-point kneeling. So find that pelvic floor, lower belly engagement as a kind of active rest, if you like. So we want to keep that supportive sense of resisting gravity, so resisting the pull of the floor for your spine and for your muscles. Taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're going to just pivot from the sit bones. I want you to tuck the tailbone underneath you and just wheel your spine bone by bone. Let the shoulders stay away from the ears, so we're trying to maintain a little space between the neck, or for the neck. Breathe in. Breathe out, opening through the spine. You can come just back to neutral, so just back to your tabletop position, or if you feel comfortable, extend the spine, opening through the throat, lengthening into the rib cage, breathing in, breathing out, rolling through the hips, undulate through the spine. Gently look towards your pubic bone, breathing in, breathing out, sending the spine away. And then last one, wheeling through the spine from the tailbone to the crown of your head. Now from here, stay in this cat position, tuck your toes underneath you. And then I want you to imagine that someone's picking you up from your hips. So imagine just lifting the tailbone up towards the ceiling, sending the heels towards the mat, but it doesn't matter if the legs are straight or not. So I want you to really bend in the knees if that helps your spine to lengthen out. So we don't want to be here. We don't want to be in a round spine. We want, if we can, to really send the tailbone up towards the ceiling, breathing in here. Breathing out, picking up the heels, drawing the tailbone down as you lower the knees. Come back into your cat position and then lengthen out through the spine, back into your tabletop neutral spine. Let's do that one more time, taking a breath in. Take a rest if you need to for your wrists. As you breathe out, rolling the pelvis underneath you, wheeling bone by bone, little C shape, rainbow shape of the spine. Now from here, tucking the toes under, imagine someone's picking up your hips, lengthening it towards the ceiling, opening through the throat, the ribs. So it should feel like a really strengthening, opening position for the rib cage here, lengthening the tailbone away from the crown of your head. Breathing in. As you breathe out, picking up the heels. Resist, 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 and lower with control back into that curl of your spine. And then from here, open the knees a little bit wider, maintain that curl of your spine all the way back, and then lower yourself into your rest position. Once more. Breathe. Lovely deep breaths here into the back of your body. And then when you're ready, you're going to roll yourself up. We're going to swivel ourselves onto our bum. And this is where I want you to have your pillow and your blanket to hand if you can, just when you need it in a minute, or 5-7 minutes. Coming in from this sitting position, or you can lower yourself down if you feel like rolling back feels a little bit too much for your abdominals or you just don't fancy it. Well, that's fine, just lower yourself down. Otherwise, we're kind of sitting up tall on our sit bones, hands behind the thighs or lengthening out in front of you, shoulders relaxed. So imagine always that kind of underside of your arm is active, but not up towards the ears as if you're wearing shoulder-shaped earrings. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, lifting through your center. So find that sense of pelvic floor, lower belly. You'll feel slightly different against gravity in a different way. Send the tailbone through your legs as you did for your cat. Same movement of the spine, but we're keeping the spine in this C shape all the way down. So a little bit of a gaze towards your pubic bone, but long neck. Lower with control. You can use your hands on your thighs if you need to, but imagine each bone rolling individually all the way to the floor. Bring the feet slightly closer towards your bum. Float the arms up towards the ceiling. Let's just let the shoulders relax here. So allow them to be held by the ground a little bit. So imagine the backs of your shoulder blades kind of spreading like wings. Arms up to the ceiling, but elbows soft. So imagine you're hugging a tree in front of you. You're going to breathe in, open the arms. Breathe out. Close them towards each other. And again, 2 more times. Breathe in to open. So exactly the same movement that we did when we were standing, but you're just feeling a lot more grounded through the torso. So it might just feel very different in the body. Let's do one more. Breathe in, open. Breathe out to close. From here, check your feet are close enough to your bum so that we're not going to be kind of hanging in the hamstrings. We're going to come into a spine curl. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're tucking the tailbone underneath you, closing the lower spine into the floor, and then picking up the hips, wheeling the spine up, bone by bone. Keeping all 10 toes grounded, keep the shoulders relaxed. When you get to the top, you're going to breathe in, open the arms, keeping the bum lifted. Breathe out, close. We're going to do it 2 more times. The bum stays lifted. So really squeeze those glute muscles to keep your hips lifted. Last one, open. And as you close the arms together, roll the spine down bone by bone. Release the hips down. Let's take a breath in. Leaving the arms where they are. We'll come back to that one in a moment. I want you to float your left knee in towards you. Single knee fold. And then release it down with control. Right knee in. Release it down. One more either side like that. Relax the shoulders. And release. Imagine you're just sort of drawing your legs up, using your abdominal muscles, really stabilizing the pelvis. Oh, I'm doing an extra one, aren't I? Sorry. One more either side. Float. And then I want you to float the left knee and open the right arm out to the side. And coordinate, bringing both back to center. Other side. Left arm, right leg. And back. One more either side like this. And back. Left arm, right leg. And back, leaving the arms where they are. You're going to float one leg in, drawing more through the lower belly as you float the right leg in, or the other leg in. Now we're going to do slightly similar, but a little bit more load for the belly. You're going to open the left arm, tap the right toe down. So lots more work for the abdominals here, keeping the ribs and the hips in alignment. So really draw in through the lower belly. Make sure you're not poking up and bulging through the rib cage. Imagine just gently that corset connecting between those the hip bones and between the ribs and the hip. A little kind of X factor across the spine, rib to hip, rib to hip. Two more either side. Last one either side. And then bring the knees into the chest, hug them in, maybe reach through the center of the legs. A little roll from side to side, little inner thigh stretch. And then bringing the feet back down. We're going to come back to the spine curl, but I want you to leave the arms down this time, just to sort of really enjoy that movement, fluid motion through the spine. Take a breath in as you breathe out, wheeling up bone by bone, pressing the feet down, reaching the knees over the toes. Breathe in, breathe out, let the spine lengthen forward and down. We'll do 3 more. Wheeling through the spine. Like a bicycle chain, imagine each bone moving independently, smoothly from the one next to it. Let's do 2 more. And roll it down. I've got my tickle. My tickle came back. Last one. Last one. And just hug the knees into the chest one last time. Excuse me. Maybe roll your knees over to the left gently, so let them roll all the way to the side. You can lengthen your arm out to the right to give yourself that kind of oppositional twist. It's really lovely and juicy for your insides to be massaged. Only do it if the lower spine feels comfy and supported. Breathing in. And then when you're ready, with control, rolling over to the other side. So maybe keep the feet on the flat floor if it feels like it's too much to pick the knees up with the abdominals. Lengthening out through that opposite arm. Maybe just really let the shoulder release down into the floor beneath you. Breathe, expand. And then gently come back through center, leaving your legs on the floor. Maybe take a pillow or something underneath your knees so you can relax them out in front of you, or have the soles of the feet together, the knees releasing out to the side. Or if you're near a bed or a sofa, maybe drape them on top of the sofa so you have a little bit of support underneath the shins, the calf muscles. Make sure you've got your pillow, your blanket. And then when you're comfortable, just begin to tune into your breath. Allow the rhythm of your breath to become your focus. Simply noticing how long you're breathing in for, Noticing whether your exhalation is longer, the same length, or even shorter. Just be gently curious about the rhythm of your natural breathing pattern before you change it. And as you become more comfortable, may surrender a little bit more deeply to the floor underneath you. See if you can consciously lengthen the exhalation. So if you're taking your in-breath in for a count of 4 or 5, allow the exhalation to lengthen to 6 or even 7. Just notice whether you're holding on to any tension around the joints of your body. So check with your shoulders, see if you can just allow them to widen. Check around your hips. Can you allow them to soften? Notice your jaw, see if you can release. Round your eye sockets. Space between your eyebrows. The center of your forehead. So once you've done that round, sort of gently checked in with each of those spaces, then do it again. So see if you can release just that little bit more. Really allow yourself to believe that you're being supported by the ground underneath you. And let your weight be fully held. And begin to notice how your body connects into the earth. What parts of your body can you feel widening into the space beneath you? And then just bringing your awareness back to your breath. This time tuning into the physical sensations of the breath within the body. So how does that feel? Where can you feel the sensations as you breathe in? Through the nostrils, the throat, in the tummy. Where can you feel your breath stretching and reaching to? And on the exhalation, where do you feel that tracking? So how does the breath leave the body? Just be open to noticing any sensations. Noticing if there's a part of the breath that you favour, you like to be in. And then just seeing whether you can make yourself even 1% more comfortable. So do you need to shift your position slightly? Do you need to take a deeper, longer breath? Can you give yourself that extra little dose of self-compassion by giving yourself a little bit more comfort? And I'm going to leave you here for as long as you feel it's nurturing and comfortable. And it's been very lovely to see you. And I will see you next week. Sleep well, everyone.